Hello and welcome to the newspaper review on TAF TV. Of course, this is where we analyze and dissect trending and catchy headlines every day. My name is Obed Jerry, your host for today. Yes, it's a new week. Happy new week to you out there. All right, this is where we analyze and dissect trendy and catchy headlines every day. We are at the street of Port Harcourt at the newspaper stand to hear what people on the streets have to say as regards the headlines on the papers. You can also be a part of this show. Since you are not here to discuss with us, please slide to our comment section and drop your comments. Do well to subscribe, turn on the notification button, connect with us across all our social media platforms so that you receive notifications about the videos that we post here. All right, let's look into the papers. Let's see what the stories look like. Today being Monday, February 5th, 2024, we could see on the Nation's newspaper, it says, how kidnappers exploit financial systems loopholes. Sub-story under that reads, bank failed to observe due diligence, compliance. Details is found on page 17. Abia panel issue bench warrant for ex-AG. Details is found on page 27. Ex-APC auditor joins Anambra governorship race. Details is found on page 27. We could see here it says Enugu lawyer defrauded Unizik workers of 91 million naira. Details is found on page 5. PDP candidate slam Imo. Details is found on page 27. You can see at the banner story here reads 0 megawatts to discos cripple homes, businesses. Sub-story under that reads ministry, firm disagree on cause of failure. Another sub-story under that reads minister in frantic meeting. Details is found on page 2 of the Nation's newspaper. We could see here it says presidency knock Atiku over remarks on economic policies. Sub-story under that reads Atiku faults Tinubu's economic policy. Details is found also on page 2 of the Nation's newspaper. We could see here it says APC retains 59 Senate seats with wins in Ebonyi South, Yobe North. Sub-story under that reads YPP floors Abga in Anambra. Details is found on page 4. Tinubu condoles with Namibia over President Hage death at 82. Details is found on page 3. And that's all we'll be taking on the Nation's newspaper. All right, let's look into the Punch newspaper. We could see as headline reads NAMEF, dollar supply rise by 180% as banks sell $440 million. Details is found on page 29. Federal government, states debt near 107 trillion naira. Naira for raises loan. Details is found on page 30. Fundraising for Ransom Persists. Ekiti Pupils families pay 15 million naira. Details is found on page 2 and 25 of the Punch newspaper. Tinubu, Obasanjo, world leaders mourn Namibian president. Details is found on page 22. Shaibu orders boycott Edo PDP Congress. Makinde dumps committee. Details is found on page 7. Pregnant women arrested for killing mother over plantain in Rivers. A very sad and funny story here. Details is found on page 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. Still on the headlines here, we could see NSCDC trains vigilantes to secure 821,000 vulnerable schools. Details is found on page 7. And that's all we'll be taking on the Punch newspaper. And lastly for today, we're looking at the Daily Sun newspaper. We could see as headline reads, APC wins Ebonyi South senatorial by-election. Details is found on page 26. Electricity outrage at airports. Fan under fire. Sub-story under that reads, stakeholders cry out, demand compensation. Another sub-story under that reads, switch over responsibility, says airport management. Details is found on page 25. Edo Guba, PDP World Congresses, free, fair, credible, says Governor Mba. Sub-story under reads, Makinde rejects appointments as electoral committee chair. Details is found on page 28. Name terror sponsors laundering money. SCSN challenges EFCC. Details is found on page 6. It's too early to judge democracy in Africa, says Kuka. Sub-story under that reads, says continent must remain true to its human values. Abductors of Kwara monarch's wife demand 100 million naira ransom. Details is found on page 5. NDLEA intercepts 14.5 tons of Ghanaian cannabis linked to wanted drug baron in Lagos. Details is found on page 4. And that's all we're taking on the Sun newspapers. Now let's get to see the reactions and thoughts of people on the streets as regards these headlines on the newspapers. All right, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I would like your thoughts on the Punch newspaper that says kidnapping epidemic, fundraising for ransom persists. Ekiti Pupils family pay 15 million naira ransom.
Well, in as much as I'm concerned, the issue of kidnapping is becoming much in Nigeria. and the rate of kidnapping and the ransom payment has worsened the issue. It shows that the security outfit in Nigeria, they are not proactive. Number two is that you discover that people that are paying ransom and you are paying to somebody, and there is a name, there is BVM to track money, whatever, and it wasn't right. And so this person that is collecting there, where is he collecting it? Which process are they using to collect it? Is it not from bank they are withdrawing the money to pay? And if that's such is case, you will be able to track it. So if the Nigerian security agencies begin to track the payment, the process of payment, I think the issue of kidnapping and the payment will reduce. And at the same time, I want to put it across that the rate of unemployment in Nigeria is also fueling the rate of kidnapping, because when people see this is the kidnapping is only means where you can get money easily, quick money. So they intend to diverge on it. So the process is supposed to be strengthened, the employment level, everything. Look at what people are passing through in this country now. People are suffering. A graduate will be riding Okada, or some will be riding bicycle just to survive. Or carrying, I went to a place, I see somebody, a graduate, doing all this messing work, carrying a load from one story to the last floor. It's not right. Why we have resources that can sustain us? So there should be a way out of this. And the best way out of it is for the security agencies to be proactive. And the banking sector should strengthen their measure of checking the laundering of money, how money moves and how it comes in. And at the same time, anybody that is caught in terms of kidnapping should not be spared. Abacha introduced something that is unique in this country. If armed robber is caught, he will be taken to his village. The village will know the type of job this man is doing, so that as soon as others see that kind of a thing, they will run away from it. Because by the time somebody is shot in his village, in the eyes of the father and the mother, shame will catch them. They won't allow any of their son or siblings to go back into that system. So that type of thing is supposed to be advanced, supposed to improve on that. Do something that will discourage others. Because when you caught somebody that's kidnapping, you treat it with a kid's blow. You settle, and the way you only hear when the man was arrested. You don't hear when the man is discharged. You don't know the court the man has been taken to. And sometimes you take somebody to court, you cover his face. You don't know who you are covering the face. I mean, it's not supposed to be right. It's not right. So that is my take on this.
Okay, from another angle now, don't you think it's more like some politicians, some corrupt politicians have hand in this? That is why, because how well do they get information about knowing when and where to kidnap people and how they get away with it?
Well, what I said about politicians is that they are kind of human beings that can devise any means to survive, to succeed. So it is not impossible that they will have hand in hand. But until one is caught and exposed, before we can agree to that they can use it against their enemy. They can use it against their opponent or whatever. But what we are saying is that let us have somebody that we use to set as an example. Because by this, others will learn. Yes, others will learn. And they will now know that this is what is killing us. These are the people that are. And when we have this kind of person, it should be sanctioned. There should be a policy to sanction somebody that is caught in doing something wrong. If it's in politics, you ban him from politics for 10 years, 15 years. I mean, it serves as a deterrent to others.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome. I would like your thoughts on the Daily Sun that says electricity outrages at airports, FAAN under fire.
Well, it is really sad that in a country where we are generating electricity, such could be heard in such a facility in Nigeria. It is aviation sector. You know, the Federal Aviation Authority of Nigeria to come up with such a sad report is really disheartening and calls for a quick resolve of such a challenge. It's not going to make any outside person, like the Western world, anybody from any neighboring country that their power sector is working very well, looking at us, it's going to post some level of shame on our government. Okay? Now, if somebody is going to switch over, there's what we call inverter. Inverter is a system where you can have a easy switch over of power from one particular source to another with ease, without any interruption of the power flow. With inverter, you have a switch over of power without any obstruction or any outage of whatever. It goes to say that, the federal airport doesn't have an inverter that is able to carry power for a period of time. Like we said, somebody said, like the report states, that it was just for 2 to 3 minutes. 2 to 3 minutes, and you couldn't have an inverter that could sustain power for such a short period of time. It is a shame on this nation, and our government should cover their face with shame if something like this is happening in an international airport, not just a local airport. In an international airport such as that, we are having power outage. Then what are we doing with our power sector? What our government doing? The Minister of Aviation, what is he doing? The Minister of Power, what are they doing? Every now and then we keep having recurrent issues that are not supposed to be. It is really disheartening. It bleeds my heart when I saw the headline. In fact, that's one of the reasons that is moving me to come talk about it on here. It is really, it shouldn't be heard. If it's happening in a private sector, we'll say, okay, maybe it's a private sector, they don't have money enough to be able to fix certain things up. But this is an international airport, for crying out loud, the image of the country, as far as aviation is concerned. It's really disheartening. It shouldn't be heard. So the minister in charge of power should look into this matter. The Minister of Aviation, they should put heads together and see how this can be resolved. Not only, it shouldn't happen again. It's not only, in the aviation sector alone, across other sectors, even in the nation at large. Okay, we have large crude reserve, gas and other natural minerals. Then why are we suffering problems? Why are we suffering, situations that connect with all the minerals we have? What are our leaders doing with our minerals, with our money? What are they doing with it? When you look at, the emoluments, the salary, the allowances each senator receives, you will weep for this nation. Our students are roaming the street, our children are roaming the street without going to school. Our students who are graduates are roaming the street without nothing to do. But you go through, the chart and see what a particular senator earns as an allowance. It will bleed your heart. What are they doing with our money? And we'll be allowing this situation to be occurring, in different sectors in the nation. It's unbecoming. It should stop. Because if this continues like this, see, there is an extent to which one's patient can get to. Patient has an elastic limit. And when we, the youth, run out of our elastic patience, it will get to a point where we'll bump into riots and nobody will be able to control us again. I am speaking this out because it is bleeding my heart. It's something that we have taken for over time. Our patience is almost running out. It shouldn't happen again. They are there eating our money and we are suffering. What is the senator doing? The House of Rep member, what are they doing?
And even the ministers in charge.
The ministers, what are they doing? Can they tell us one tangible thing they are doing in the office that is making them earn so much? You see a government worker going on with peanuts and they are there doing nothing. They are, leveraging on, the resources of the nation. You look at our teachers that should be anywhere. They are going on with peanuts. But those who are doing nothing are earning much. We see, the security men who are supposed to be anywhere going on with peanuts.
People that put their lives to risk.
People that put their lives to risk. That is where my heart is bleeding the most. They get killed, they get maimed, they get disfigured in one way or the other. Our leaders don't care. But they are there lavishing our money, going to Dubai, going to places, enjoying themselves without caring how we fare. We have enough in this nation to make us comfortable. Then why are we suffering? Tomorrow you hear the government will go borrow money from another country. What are they borrowing money for? What are they using the money for? We borrow every year, we keep borrowing money. Every year we keep borrowing money. Can they show us one tangible thing they've been using the money they borrow for? No senator is being held. No minister is being held. But you see our civil servants, 10 months, 5 months, sometimes in a year they don't get paid. And the government will expect them to go to classroom and be teaching. They'll be expecting them to go to their place of work, to be working. They expect them to be up and doing. And they'll be owing them. This is inhuman. It shouldn't be taken in a country such as this. If they know they don't have the capability to lead us, they should step aside. We youth, we are ready to lead if they want us to, if they allow us the chance to. We will. We've been leading in our respective institutions. We run student governments. We know how this thing works. So they shouldn't be fooling us. They can't tell us there's one tangible thing they are doing there that we cannot do. We can do these things. After all, we run student governments successfully. Even without, any funds. We use our personal funds. We run student government. And things were going on. We were doing little projects that high school see with our own personal purse, our own personal funds. With the little money we get from our parents to go to school, our little allowances for feeding. We'll save some, we'll use it to do projects. Then our elders are there in M of affairs in government, doing nothing, lavishing our money, and year in, year out, month in, month out. Daily we are hearing of problems, attached to resources that we have in large reserve. This shouldn't be heard. It shouldn't be heard. My heart bleeds.
Now, one last question. Now it says, what's your take on this that says stakeholders demand compensation?
Who are the stakeholders, if I may ask? What compensation are they talking about?
And why would they be compensated?
Why would they be compensated? Now from, the meaning of the word stakeholders. For you to be a holder of the stake, you stake to hold. With my own little knowledge of what it means to be a stakeholder is somebody who stakes, who gives, who invests, who sacrifices. Now, if somebody who should be staking is demanding, then why are you a stakeholder? What are your contributions? What are you staking? What compensation are you demanding? This is why I'm lamenting. We don't have leaders as far as this nation is concerned. I'm saying this without reservation. We don't have leaders as far as this nation is concerned. Everybody just wants to aggrandize they just want to use any little opportunity to aggrandize, amass wealth for themselves and their children. But the funny part of it is, when they die, when they are no more, their children are nowhere to be found. And all those wealth, they will lavish it without using it to do any tangible thing. See, there is a recompense for every evil any man indulges in. Even the Bible says it, that whatsoever a man sows, he shall reap. So our leaders should take this to the bank. That whatsoever they are doing today, if they don't reap it, their children will come and reap it. It's not a prayer, but it's something that will happen. If I'm a leader and I'm doing suits, then this follows me too. Yes, I'm saying this without mincing words. If I'm a leader, then I am also doing what they are doing, then what I'm saying will also follow me. But if they continue to treat us in this hard way, we are suffering. Pure water that we used to buy 10 naira. Today I bought it 2.15 naira. 15 naira doesn't have value again.
All you need is our pro-life.
15 naira doesn't have value again, and $1 that is nothing in another man's land, in our own country, is hold, is revered, is worshipped. $1 that is nothing in another person's land, in their own land, in the Western world. $1 is nothing. In our own land, in our own country, we are worshipping $1. But our own 15 naira is nothing to write home about. 100 naira is nothing in this country. 1,000 naira is nothing in this country. You can barely eat, you can barely buy a plate of soup, a plate of food with 1,000 naira. In our country presently. Is this not disheartening? What level of wickedness our leaders have turned us into? Like I've said, a time is coming that will revolt and will not be able to hold our peace anymore. So if they like, let them continue. If they don't like, let them call themselves to order and do right and do what is right to be done right. Sincerely speaking, my heart is bleeding. I wish I would see them to their face to be talking to them instantly. It is getting out of hand. Is this same situation that is making people want to break out of the nation? This same situation. I don't blame them. I don't blame the East. Sincerely speaking, I don't blame them. Because if the nation was going the way it's supposed to go, nobody would be clamoring to break out. Okay, look at what is happening in the ECOWAS presently. Some countries are breaking out of the stock. Why? And somebody is saying they're supposed not to do, they're supposed not to do. What are the leaders of ECOWAS doing? If they're leading well, would those people clamor to break out? It's only bad governance that will make a subordinate to say, oh, I can't hold it back again, I can't do it anymore. We face this thing in school. That's the reason why I'm talking the way I'm talking. There's no difference from what is happening in our institutions and what is happening in the larger stream of politics. There's no difference. There's absolutely no difference. The only slight difference there is that they are being paid, we are not being paid. We use our own money to run student government. They use our own money, the money of the masses. Okay? Instead of using it to run the government, they are aggrandizing it. Okay? We use our own personal money to run student government. And they are using the money of the nation, the entire nation, to be heaping somewhere, to be dumping somewhere. After, their tenure in office, they'll be bearing balls and looking for, graduates that will be washing their feet. Most of them are not graduates.
Our medicine, they work with pro-life medicine. They work wonders.
Most of them are not graduates. But they are controlling our money. God go visit them one day. God go visit them one day. It's just a matter of time. When we run out of patience, they go hear us. No be lie.
All right, thank you very much. All right, this is where we draw our curtains for today. My name is Obed Jerry, your host for today. And whatever opinion or thought you have to add to what has been said here, please quickly slide to our comment section. And if you've not subscribed yet, please do well to subscribe. If you've subscribed and you have not turned on the notification, please switch and turn on the notification. Follow us across all our social media platforms so that you'll be receiving our notifications from videos like this. My name is Obed Jerry, your host for today, and this has been the newspaper review here on TAF TV. See you next time.